Hello again and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. In today's video we have a 1v1 from the most recent tournament with Shox versus LSR. So here we see them both spawning in similar positions next to the pool on this side of their spawn. And as we zoom in here to LSR, we can see he is building a 2 metal and a wind, which, you know, is perfectly viable in this kind of map. Wind here is 4 lowest, so that's pretty good. Shox going for 4 wins on only 2 metal extractors, whereas LSR going for 4 wins on the 3 metal extractors. This probably means that Shox will probably get his factory out first, and but he'll obviously have a metal disadvantage. Now, as we zoom out to the map quickly, when we look at this map, there are some key things to note. Obviously, the water section here and here on both left and right side of the map is going to be unpassable by any units other than Commander if both people have gone bots, which they have. Most of the fighting will tend to take place in the middle here due to the kind of, you know, choke points that are on the map. Bots can pass this north and south hill. Vehicles cannot, so you can use that as a bit of a flanking bonus if you can get units around that corner. However, both the start positions have put both players as furthest away from that kind of flanking position as possible with that in mind. Now, we see both players here have gone Cortex, with both players getting some grunts ready for, you know, to counter any scout spam or scout attacks, which, as both players are core, that's not going to happen. Now we see LSR here being a little bit greedy. He is going quite heavy on his economy and has not even left his base yet, whereas Shox has left his base with a considerable amount of grunts as opposed to LSR's 2. However, LSR is the first person to leave his base, with Shox still in his base assisting the factory and using his engineers to expand. Shox only getting the 3rd mechs now. And as we see on the metal in the bottom corner, LSR with 7 metal income right now, and Shox with only 5. LSR now going up to 9 metal. Both players fairly similar in terms of energy usage. However, this is a substantial amount of grunts here that are coming round. LSR has 4 to the 6 of Shox. However, LSR does have the home field advantage here of the factory being able to produce more backup units. And I believe Shox is now trying to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to try and go for this fight or not? LSR now has equal amount of units, protecting his expansion here from these raiding units. Shox at the same time has more units covering the hole in the middle to stop him being able to be flanked. LSR bringing in a grunt around the back here to force some form of engagement. Shox obviously getting pushed towards the bottom of the map, with not much room here to go, and the first shots of the game take place. LSR being careful then not to get trapped. However, what we see on the map here is Shox is moving these forces back to that hill that we mentioned earlier and is planning to reinforce them with a second batch of units. LSR doesn't know that they are there yet and is still chasing these units down. LSR going quite heavy on the laser defenses in the middle, whereas Shox has put all of his income into units. And this is where LSR may be about to lose a bunch of units here. Bit late for him to notice that, as a whole bunch of an additional 6 grunts come out of nowhere. LSR now needs to be on the defensive again Been on the defensive pretty much the whole game so far. So it does have the units to counter this, and with the reclaim on his side, bear in mind grunts aren't a lot of reclaim. It's 21 metal, it's still more than nothing, I guess. And we see a push in the middle here. Should be enough laser towers to defend that. Especially the way he's going in like that there. Yeah, as Shox pulls back. LSR using his commander here to cap these additional mexes on the right side of his base. He is ahead when it comes to eco-wise. Well, they may have found a little gap here. Yeah, those units are definitely going to get past that LLT. As we look over to economy here, we see LSR with 19 metal income, 250 energy. And Shox with 17 metal income and 280. LSR loses a mex there. They end up on equal metal income. LSR does not have the energy to use D-gun here. But that shouldn't be enough grunts to kill a commander. But he will definitely get 2 metal extractors and then will probably fall back. Shox definitely in a stronger position here just due to him being more aggressive. LSR having to play super defensive the entire time as we see another group here about to push through this same hole that was made before. LSR does have the units there to defend. It may be only a matter of time until we start seeing Roccos, but saying that, what we are seeing from Shox's base here is Thugs. They will be able to tank the laser towers quite easily. And now we're seeing a change from LSR. No, we are not, but we are seeing a construction turret coming out. Now, interestingly, Shox hasn't left his base this entire game, whereas obviously LSR is moving around quite a bit. LSR looks like he plans on getting this reclaim up the hill. Little does he know, he's about to get plasma bots on his ass. So he might need to change out his style. He doesn't know what's coming for him yet. Clears up those res bots. And we're probably just going to see these thugs here just walk straight down the middle. LSR just trying to defend his flank. Now, Shox knows that LSR's commander is down on that bottom right side, which means he doesn't have to worry about any D-guns coming up. So, you know, he's safe to use these thugs in the middle without much, you know, worry. But now LSR does know that there are thugs there. It wouldn't surprise me if he's about to switch out his production queue. He's actually transitioning to vehicles, which may have been a bit of an iffy time here if Shox actually goes in and uses those thugs that he has. As we see a nice attempt at a flank there from LSR, but unfortunately gets cut off before it's able to do anything. Now LSR using his commander down here to push sideways to secure this other right side of the map. Now, somewhat risky here, knowing the amount of thugs in the middle of the map here. Saying that, he probably doesn't want his commander anywhere near those thugs. LSR substantially ahead on metal. He's 32 metal income right now as opposed to Shox's 26. However, with the transition over to vehicles, they are going to cost more to use in general. So it may even out. Now we can see Shox having a bit of an energy problem at the moment. But he has queued up a substantial amount of wins. Now we see Shox here as well, transitioning over to vehicles. we've got a bit of an advanced economy going on here from LSR, getting some advanced solars on the go. Rocket bots kind of peppering these laser towers and these thugs, forcing them to back off a little bit. LSR's going to try and get those tanks past. Now, tanks are quicker than bots, so it is possible that he could get these through, which does look like that is going to be the case. However, by doing that, he does leave himself very open to a push from these thugs. Same time, LSR here trying to make a little push through with those grunts he has, but doesn't really get anywhere. 2 more tanks managing to push through and get round. LSR trying to put Shox on the defensive here rather than playing defensive the entire time. But Shox tanks are coming out now as well, which makes LSR's push a bit more difficult here. These tanks here are probably more like throwaway. He gets rid of the radar. Now this may be a problem for LSR. He does have a decent amount of tanks here. He is just sending these tanks in to die, though. Doing a great job here, Shox, with the res bots behind, keeping those thugs repaired. Those tanks did end up getting through, surprisingly. They got a couple of metal extractors. I don't think it's going to be enough to make any substantial difference, though, as both of these tanks are probably going to die now, yeah. LSR tries to get a bit more from them, but unfortunately not. Now, these tanks are not going to have the movement. We press F2 here. We go down this hill. So he can't exactly flank with this, but he can get these engineers and metal extractors up there. See LSR throwing away a couple of tanks here. Not good. LSR still with the substantial metal income advantage, though, at 39 metal income as opposed to 29 from Shox. You see some more tanks going out there. Shox having to fall back. LSR does have the tank advantage at this moment. That can change quite quickly, though. Thugs are not to be sneezed at. LSR going for a substantial push here, trying to get some of those thugs dead. Instead loses 2 of his own tanks for 1 thug. Meanwhile, Shox getting some eco damage on this bottom corner here, getting 1 laser tower and 1 metal extractor. Not a massive deal. You see LSR trying to get rid of these laser towers to kind of free up this middle for a bit of maneuverability. And as LSR here goes to plan to use the grunts to get some flanking damage on these thugs. And also just to soak up some damage from the for the tanks here. Very nice turnaround from LSR here, managing to push Shox right back. Don't think he's necessarily got enough to continue the push here, but he's going to do it anyway. And the tanks of Shox getting stuck in their X there. Shox did do a very good job. He definitely did contain LSR. He just took way too long to get any of the expansion maxes, was behind on economy the entire game as Shox surrenders. Good game to both. LSR was just ahead on economy the entire game. Used his commander to push the bottom right hand corner and get control of that economy, whereas Shox kept his commander in base the entire time. I say that was probably the biggest issue there for Shox. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.